$150 million. That's the number insiders are throwing around right now for just the first season of Henry Cavill's Warhammer 40,000 show. And honestly, for a project this size, that's not even close to a record. Rings of Power burned through 3 times that amount for one season. So why does Amazon's Warhammer project feel like the most secretive show in Hollywood right now? Because it kind of is. And there's a very specific reason for that. If the recent reports out of the English language press are accurate, Amazon and Henry Cavill aren't just making another sci-fi show. They're trying to dethrone Star Wars, not compete with it, replace it as the biggest science fiction universe on the planet. And the way they're trying to pull that off is wild. According to insider claims, Cavill and Games Workshop pushed through one of the strictest contracts ever signed for a franchise adaptation. Guys, your support is super important to us right now. Hit that like button or subscribe just to boost the channel's activity because the YouTube algorithm loves that stuff. Without your help, we just can't push forward. One designed specifically to make it structurally impossible for writers to butcher the lore the way so many beloved franchises have been butchered in the last decade. Here's the thing people keep getting wrong. This project isn't dead, it's just invisible. Games Workshop CEO Kevin Roundtree has publicly confirmed that development with Amazon and Vertigo Entertainment is moving forward at full speed. The problem is the marketing and announcement schedule are entirely controlled by Amazon, and Amazon has clearly decided the timing isn't right yet. Likely still feeling the burn from Rings of Power, a show that basically got buried the moment the first trailer dropped. So Games Workshop's hands are tied by NDAs. No concept art, no plot details, no dates. They want to talk. They legally can't. Meanwhile, Cavill himself keeps saying in interview after interview that this is the first project of his entire career where he actually has real power. Not just as the lead actor, but as an executive producer with genuine creative say. He's called it the biggest honor and the biggest challenge of his career, and he says he's not going to let fans down. And there's an update to a story we covered a couple months back, the one about Cavill running a strict 3-strike system for anyone writing on the show. Strike 1 for breaking lore, a serious conversation, and the material gets sent back for rewrites. Strike 2, the writer gets sent back to study the source material like it's homework. Some say there's practically a quiz involved. Strike 3, you're off the project permanently. Rumor has it this has already happened more than once. Here's the part that's got fans buzzing on forums right now. Cavill, despite technically being Amazon's guy, has reportedly sided with Games Workshop on this. Not with the studio that's paying him, with the people who actually own the IP. And the reason is simple, he wants the show to stay pure. Word going around is that Cavill and Games Workshop got Amazon to agree to something almost unheard of in a streaming contract. A clause that lets Games Workshop pull the license entirely, freezing the whole production, penalties and all, if the writers try to modernize the story or twist the source material into something it was never meant to be. That's an insanely aggressive clause. But think about who's pushing for it. This is personal for Cavill. He got burned playing Geralt in The Witcher when Netflix reportedly drifted from the books. He got tossed out of the DC universe by Warner Brothers after years of carrying Superman. Now he's using his weight as the lead and an executive producer to make sure his bosses at Amazon literally cannot pull the same tricks that have wrecked franchise after franchise in modern Hollywood. And that brings us to the real headline here. Reports suggest Amazon and Cavill aren't just aiming to make a good show. They're aiming to become the dominant sci-fi universe on the planet, bigger than Star Wars. Sounds insane on paper, until you remember Star Wars has been quietly struggling for close to a decade now, with more and more fans openly looking for something else to fill that void. Outlets like MovieWeb have pointed out something interesting here. Cavill isn't chasing George Lucas's success. He's building something meant to go head-to-head with the deepest world building in sci-fi, period. And Warhammer 40K has that depth. Decades of lore, factions, wars, mythology that rivals anything Star Wars has ever built. If this adaptation is handled right, it genuinely has the tools to beat Star Wars at its own game. And let's be honest, Star Wars under Disney has leaned on nostalgia way more than it's leaned on actual storytelling for years now. What Warhammer has that Star Wars lost the moment Disney bought Lucasfilm is someone like Henry Cavill actually running the creative side, someone who genuinely loves this universe, unlike, say, Kathleen Kennedy. With Amazon's money behind him, Cavill reportedly has every resource he needs to build Warhammer 40K into something on a scale even Star Wars never touched. Now let's talk numbers, because that's where this gets real. Insiders are currently estimating the Season 1 budget at around $150 million. Big number, but again, nowhere near a record for a show this ambitious. For context, Rings of Power spent nearly 3 times that. And Warhammer isn't exactly a modest universe to bring to screen. We're talking city-sized starships, warp-fueled madness, planet-scale battles, and space marines built way beyond human scale. So the real question industry experts are asking right now isn't, will it look good? It's, how do you pull this off without it turning into cheap CGI soup? And there's actually a consistent answer floating around. Almost everyone points to Inquisitor Gregor Eisenhorn as the smartest possible entry point for a live-action Warhammer show. Instead of throwing viewers straight into a $150 million meat grinder with 10-foot-tall Astartes and galaxy-scale war, the theory is they open with Eisenhorn's story, basically a noir detective thriller with horror elements set inside the Warhammer universe. And Cavill himself has hinted more than once that Eisenhorn is a character he's personally fascinated by, which has this theory sitting at the top of fan discussions right now. On the casting side, and take this with a grain of salt because none of it is confirmed, some leaked casting sheets have resurfaced online. Gary Oldman's name is back in the mix, and he has reportedly been spotted at the Warhammer World headquarters in Nottingham. There's also persistent chatter about Tom Cruise showing up for a guest role or cameo to boost the show's star power, plus rumors around Ana de Armas and Anya Taylor-Joy for lead female roles, both of whom have been working closely with Amazon lately. Bottom line, everything points to this being a genuinely top-tier production in the making. But information is still coming out at a painfully slow pace. So all we can do right now is keep collecting every scrap we find. That's everything we've got for today. If you want to stay in the loop, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update. And drop a like and a comment. Let me know what you think is actually going to happen with this show. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.